Okay, we should be live now. I'm going to make sure everything is all set up, and then we can get this show on the road. Audio sounds good. Okay, we should be all set up. We should be ready to rock and roll. Weeks 15, 16, and 17. We have made it to the home stretch of the season with 4 weeks to go. The playoff chase is on. What's good, Nick and Ader, SGYT, Nick, Denmark, Apple. How we doing, everybody? My laptop keeps closing my tab, and I'm taking a practice test on College Board. Oh, good old College Board. That brings back fun memories. OMG, your team's up there. Yeah, even though you guys are 0-14. Wink, wink. Wow, they have a 2 seed. Holy cow, I knew they were good. I didn't realize they were 2. But yeah, that's what the bracket looks like with 4 weeks to go. We're getting through 3 today. We're watching 2 games, and we're simcasting another. So by far the most voted game is this week, the Wizards and the Bison. So we're definitely going to be watching that. And then for the second watched game, we have a 2-way tie, both involving the Browns. So in Week 16, we have the Browns and Niners, and then in Week 17, we have the Browns and Tigers. So if you'd like to watch Cleveland go up against San Francisco, type in Trey for Trey Lance. If you want to watch the Browns go up against the Tigers, type in Trevor for Trevor Lawrence. Hurricanes, so you're out of school the rest of the week. Well, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to congratulate you or not congratulate you, because, I mean, I guess you're lucky to not have to go, but obviously not really a good reason. Trevor. A lot of Trevor so far. Why can't we watch 3 games? Because we don't have time. That'd be a pretty long stream, and I have stuff to do afterwards. Oh, I should have done Lap Dance Lance. You're right. Darn it. Well, it looks like everyone wants to see Trevor, which is probably the right choice. And this probably benefits the Niners as well, because this means that the Niners actually have a chance to win the game. Otherwise, they wouldn't. And now we get to see the Browns play the Tigers, arguably the 2 best teams in the AFC. Yeah, 2 and 5. But I would say, yeah, I'd say the Tigers are better than the Pioneers. Although it's close. The top 5 teams in the AFC are all darn good. So I guess we're going to start with the Wizards and Bison. Siri, give me a whole number between 1 and 2. 1. I think that is for Bison. You've never watched a simcast? Well, we are simcasting your game, so maybe the streak isn't over. Yeah, the Bison are the road team. I don't know if Pokemon or Dan is here to pick their jerseys. Faithful Huskies, dear God, if we lose. Well, it won't be as embarrassing because Tim Robinson isn't playing. I made Jacoby Brissett the starter, right? I know I made his change for Jamison Crowder, but I just want to double check. Okay, good. I thought I did. What do you guys think of the Echo? Okay, enough of that. If I knew OKC was 5-8, I wouldn't have picked this game. There are some fun storylines, though. The Bison kind of need to win to stay alive, so they still, they still have a chance. And they have a quarterback change. Jalen Hurts is now the man under center. These away jerseys are honestly kind of clean. These colors go together. Do we have any objections to this jersey combo? Since it's 2 relocation teams, we don't really have many choices. What's their main jersey? Is it blue? Or their home jersey? Yeah, these are kind of fire, too. We should watch the Bison more. They have some damn good jerseys. But do we have any objections with the jerseys? Going once, going twice? Denmark says no objections, so that means everybody else also has no objections. So we can hop in. Supposed to tell me that the Bison are supposed to survive against this offense. The Wizards should win this game. They're the better team. But maybe OKC making a quarterback change will spark some things. It seems like whenever Jeff Sims has gotten injured, which has been a couple of times over the past couple of seasons, and Jalen Hurts has come in relief to play parts of games, he's been pretty good. If anything, he's been honestly better than Jeff Sims. Live at the Bubble Dome. Yeah, we are in the Orlando Mickey Mouse bubble. I'm here, but I actually can't type. Well, you just typed. I'm kidding, but how we doing? C Mills, what's good? Hector? Little Jaw, everybody? Don't mind me, just the new OCAA commissioner pulling up. Are you just gonna, like, label that and, like, flex on us? Imagine Hector walking around his algebra class. Yeah, I'm the new OCAA commissioner, guys. That's me, in the flesh. You are to bow down to me on your knees. When do I have to start? Whenever you want, I guess. I mean, it's your league, so you can do with it as you choose. Can't wait to lose to New England. Well, that would be pretty embarrassing, because New England's pretty bad. Kind of easy. Yeah, I would say that's pretty easy. Algebra was pretty easy compared to the maths after that. The Wizard Stadium is kind of dark. Is this like a late-ish game? I don't think it's a primetime game. Maybe it's like a 4:15 game. Or maybe it's like overcast. Or maybe it's raining. It could very well be raining, but we wouldn't know because it's in a dome. Okay, that very well could have been picked. Now a 3rd and 8. The Bison could win this game. The Wizards started the year off red hot, but they've been very vulnerable. Oh, the Hurricane! You might be onto something. Holy cow, what a catch. And what a play after the catch! Down the field, inside the 5. Who is that? Number 1. Devontae Parker. Just mossed the dude and nearly took it to the house. But yeah, you might be onto something. Although, technically, if a Hurricane would have been like 3+ years ago at this point in the save file, Madden's being ultra realistic and putting the Hurricane in Orlando now. You might be onto something. 2-1 with a division championship would be a win. Well, you're going to beat San Francisco because, you know, the Niners are never going to win a game that we hop into, whether it's watched or, I guess, simcast. Third and goal. Mahomes is in the zone after that play, which was pretty much all by Devontae Parker. And he is sacked by Titans franchise legend David Long. David Long is doing what he does in the Titans franchise, and that's get in the backfield and make plays. You think I'll do good as commish? I don't know. Maybe. Are you out of playoff contention? No. With the NFC being kind of weak, definitely not. Yeah, we're in like late November, early December, and hurricane season would have been 2 to 3 months ago. So, I mean, in that sense, it's not realistic, but, I don't know, I guess EA is trying to overcompensate for the fact that there is a hurricane now in September of 2022, and they don't care that we're in, like, December of, like, what, 2025? So here's Jalen Hurts making his first start of the year for the Bison, replacing Jeff Sims, who has been benched. You think I was smart by starting Jacoby? I guess. Tim Robinson was pretty mid. I don't know if I would have moved Crowder to the starting running back spot because Alexander Madison's pretty good in this game, as he is in real life. Guy can ball. He's going to run for 140 on the Saints in London. It's Christmas in 2025 and there's a hurricane. I mean, to be fair, it is still probably like in the 70s in Florida in December. I think you should have kept Hector. Honestly, I kind of agree, but I'm not complaining. Put it that way. But Yeah, I think that in hindsight is looking kind of like a mistake. Although he did get quite a bit, but he's also 0-4 without him. Had three math teachers, three during algebra, and one of them was so up on how she was different because she was trans, and we barely learned anything. Huh. Well, that seems like an interesting experience. NFL may move the Chiefs-Bucks game to Minnesota, New England, Tennessee, or Birmingham. It seems like they're going to move it to Minnesota. If it's not in Tampa, which if the hurricane is as bad as it's supposed to be, then I assume it will not be in Tampa. So, yeah, I think they're probably going to have it in Minnesota. Is that the Sunday night game? It should be. I mean, Brady versus Mahomes. But yeah, now the Bucks get screwed out of a home game. Which, I mean, obviously there's a bigger deal at hand with the hurricane, but sucks to be the Bucks. You lose a home game. Nonsense. We play the game in the hurricane. That's what these two teams are doing. They're playing in the hurricane. They had the dome over them. Although, if the hurricane is as strong as it's supposed to be, I think they said it was a Category 4. Which, what, does it go out of 5? So, yeah, Category 4 is pretty big. I don't think the stadium would stand much of a chance against a Category 4 hurricane, even if it is a giant Mickey Mouse bubble. How close is New Orleans to the hurricane? It seems like it's going through, from what I saw, like the eastern part of Florida. So unless a hurricane goes west, I think New Orleans is probably fine. Skipped a math test to be here. Well, good for you. Way to take advantage of your priorities and watch Jalen Hurts overthrow receivers on like 3 straight plays. You brought your history grade to a C. Well, congrats. Progress. What type of history did we learn about in 4th grade? That's a good question. The NFL could realistically do it in New Orleans. That's true. New Orleans could make sense, but maybe it is too close to a hurricane, and maybe they don't want to put the game at like a division rival stadium. Yeah, that was a horrible punt now that I'm seeing the field position. They had them close to midfield. Yikes. Who is Oklahoma City's punter? Can Jacoby get an X Factor? Well, considering he's at normal, I wouldn't bet on that happening anytime soon, personally. But that's just me. Johnny Hecker would never. Jack Fox would never. Although he wasn't that good last week. But point remains. Jack Fox also didn't call to kick a 54-yard field goal with a crippled kicker on a 4th and 4, but that's neither here nor there. There's a nice little run up the middle by Jaden Jackson. So far, the Wizards have definitely been the better team, which I guess was to be expected. Can Ruff go above X Factor? What's above X Factor? Like, Joe Montana level? I said what I said. ESPN streak is done on Friday. Well, I apologize for your gambling woes. It'll take about a month to walk from where you live to Pennsylvania. Well, you might as well start now if you want to get here as soon as possible, so pucker up. Four Eyes worked out for the Jags. Yeah, Four Eyes needs to work out in Detroit. That's where he really should be. So what, are the Jags going to cut Riley Patterson? I would take Riley Patterson over Seibert. I mean, Patterson was pretty good when we had him at the end of the season last year. Better than Seibert. Seibert, I think, has a stronger leg, but Patterson's more accurate. And with how much we go for it, I would almost prefer an accurate kicker over someone with a boot. So, if they're going to cut Riley Patterson, I hope we're all over that. If I make it there, can I be the OFL commish? Well, I guess hypothetically you could, because that would imply you would reach my PlayStation, which has the OFL save file on it. Score is too differential, Simcast. That sounds like a great idea. It's 3-0. Four Eyes needs to work out on his accuracy. Well, he's better than Seibert. The Jags play at home. No, the Jags play in Philly. That means I'm going to be close to my twin. I need to run out to the stadium and say hi. Hate my brother. He picks up Jabal Williams and claims him at the same time. Well, you have a smart brother. He's going to get the ball a lot. Although that's karma. Didn't you claim Chris Olave in one of the leagues? Because I think I claimed him too. But I think he went to your team. So, karma. Why do I want a garbage kicker like Hot Rod? Because he's better than what we have. Seibert was, although he might have been injured, and the last field goal call was questionable, he still went 1 for 3. So at this point, give me the accurate kicker over the kicker with a strong leg. Eagles play Wentz and Doug in back-to-back weeks. Certainly a different reception, I would say, in the city between the two. Nice sack on 2nd and inches by Judon. I don't hate the decision to pass it because on 2nd and inches you can just look to go deep, and if it doesn't work, it's still 3rd and short. But you can't afford to take a sack. And, well, that's what he did. To be fair, Wentz was in Washington. Yeah, but wasn't that like an Eagles home game? Or at least isn't that what Sirianni said? So, although it was in Washington, I mean, who really had all the fans there? Can we talk about Okudah, though? Okudah's him. Now he gets to go up against DK this week. DK is going to have about 2 catches for 11 yards. And we're going to win the game 10-7 because our entire offensive skill position group, along with our entire interior defensive line, might not play. So that's what, like 8 starters? Dear God. Our only 3 healthy starters on offense are the 2 tackles and Jared Goff, and that's literally it. So it's tough sledding out there. What would you offer me for Chase Claypool? I don't need Chase Claypool. My receiving core is, like, set. How has Greg Dortch done this season? You mean in real life or in the game? In real life, he's pretty damn good. Washington had another sewage leak at the stadium. Yeah, they need a new everything. Just tear the entire franchise down and start over. And while you're at it, change the name to, like, the Red Hogs. Because that was a little bit cooler. Jared Goff carrying the offense to 16 points. And we're still going to win by 10. I guess if there was any stretch to have injuries, it would be when we play against Seattle and New England, who are both worse than us. And I don't really think that can be argued. I mean, if Mac Jones was healthy, I guess it could be. I would still think we're better than New England, even with a healthy Mac Jones, but he's not. So, I mean, we should win both of those games. Over 500 going into the bye. You know, life is good. J-Mo comes back week 7. Looks like the Bison are in field goal range, but they're not going to get more here. Once again, thank me for the trade in Dynasty that gave you Lamar. I once again thank you for giving me a 21-year-old generational tight end whose head coach is now finally deciding to use him right when I choose to bench him. We play New England in week 5. We have Seattle, New England, our bye week, and then Dallas. So that's like a really easy stretch. Seattle and New England we should win. Knowing our luck, we'll probably go 1-1. Then we have the bye week. Then J-Mo and Swift are probably going to be back week 7 against Dallas, who probably still won't have Dak. So I think realistically 3-3 is a good goal. Although, I mean, we should win all of those games, but I'm not going to count on it. Oh, I didn't even think about that. It's the Matt Patricia revenge game. You're right. I hope we win that game by 50. I hope they don't score a point. They probably won't because their offense is going to be horrible. Yeah, I wonder what the reaction is going to be from some of the players who were on the The team when we still had Patricia. I wonder if any of them are going to shake his hand. Jerry said Dak is going to come back week 5. Okay, well, I guess he's probably going to be back for our game. It's funny that 2 weeks ago, Dallas' entire season looked done, and now they're winning games, and Dak's going to be back way sooner than earlier. Don't disrespect Brian Hoyer. I will disrespect Brian Hoyer all I want. He's not good. Mahomes heaps up a prayer for the end zone, and it is intercepted out of bounds. Your friend's a Pats fan. He has like no football knowledge. Well, that's not really a surprise. You guys remember when 10 plus people knew the name Devontae Graham? Devontae Graham is our king. We do not slander the Jayhawk legend. Thank God I don't have to pick between Jimmy G and Tua anymore. Although Dak isn't the most consistent. Although I targeted him for about 5 rounds in Dynasty, and I think I got pick sniped right when I was finally going to pick him. So I got kind of screwed over there. Who was scarier, Prime MJ or Javon Carter against Trae Young? You know, that's a good question. Can I pick neither? Can I pick Devontae Graham against Javon Carter? I think they were in the same class as each other. So I think they're the same age. So I think they would have been seniors at the same time. Jimmy G paying homage to Dan Orlovsky. But Jimmy G did it even better because he threw a pick 6 on the same play. Sat Parker and keeper for Brandon Cooks. Parker is in Devontae Parker? I would have questioned why you would have started Devontae Parker over Brandon Cooks, even if he did way better. Lamar plays Jalen Hurts in Dynasty. That game's going to put up 400 points. The Jags' defense is damn good, I'm just saying. They've allowed 10 points in the last 2 weeks. And they got torched by Carson Wentz the week prior, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, Javon he stayed 4 years of college, and I'm pretty sure he was drafted in 2018, which would mean him and Devontae Graham would be the same class. And Devontae clears, of course. Okay, that was a pretty good throw. It wasn't a great read, but the throw itself on the run to the end zone. Jags got motivated by getting torched by Wentz. I guess so. I mean, clearly it worked. Okay, now he's just heaving up prayers for the end zone. You guys have 40 seconds and a timeout. You don't need to be doing this yet. Since you're the OCAA commish, do I have to make the draft classes? No, you're not responsible for that. Do me a favor and beat Spolk this week. Who's projected to win? Because Spolk's team isn't that bad. He just is the only team without a win. But I think in terms of like points scored, I mean, I can check. But I know he had that one super high scoring game the other week. Somehow lost to me. That's pretty embarrassing. But 53 to 46. So it's pretty much just a guess. Yeah, Spolk has more points per game than everybody except for 2 people. So his team is pretty good, but, I mean, they're 0-3. He has 100 points more than I do. Do I have the least amount of points? Probably. Yeah. I figured. So the Bison completely choked the clock. They absolutely should have scored, but they did not. You can't throw away points like that against a really good team in a game you have to win. Okay, we don't need to see this EA. Well, I guess we get to see Bears at least. That's fun. Bears. Show us the money! Who you guys got winning this game? Bears or Bears? I think it's going to end in a 0-0 tie. Carson Strong's going to get torched by that defense. But I don't think the other Carson Strong is going to do much better. Okay, I don't know why that took so long to exit out of. The Bison start the ball in the second half. OKC's definitely still in it, but they also definitely should have scored at the end of the first half. Did he fumble it? The Wizards had the ball. We'll see if this play stands, but we have a fumble on the kickoff. Booth review. Okay, yeah, then it's probably not a fumble. Yeah, his rear end is very clearly on the ground, as the ball is still in his hands. So, that's not a fumble. Yeah, that's the right call. The Wizards now gain a bunch of momentum for no reason at all, so I guess it does help them a little bit. Jalen Hurts looking to run. I'm getting flashbacks from week 1. Bad flashbacks. Spolk is 4th in points and last. Well, of course he's last in points again. That would make sense if he's 0-3 with that many points. Poor guy. Praying Buffalo gets their whole secondary back. But, well, Micah Hyde's out for the year, so that's not going to happen. I don't know about Jordan Poyer, but they ain't getting like Hyde back, which is obviously kind of a big deal. Spolk's defense is kind of doo-doo. I mean, clearly, if he's allowed that many points. Okay, so he's marching down the field. Not a ton of big plays, but they've been efficient. Did I just see the Bison coach teleport 20 yards forward on the sideline? I don't know if anyone else caught that. Jabril Peppers is hurt. That's not ideal. I don't feel that impressed with the Wizards. I mean, their defense has been pretty good, but I thought they would have a chance to mop the floor today, and they really haven't. The Bison coach has X-Factor abilities. He is first one free, literally. Your household has the Browns, the Dolphins, and the Eagles. What an odd set of teams. That should have been picked. The Browns would also be 3-0 if, Joe Flacco didn't exist. But Joe Flacco does exist, and he is elite. Ravens would also be 3-0 if, It's crazy that there's only 2 3-0 teams. And after Thursday, there's probably only going to be one undefeated team. Because I don't think the Dolphins are going to beat the Bengals. So I think the Eagles are going to be the last undefeated team by default. Although it would be kind of cool if the Dolphins were the last ones to lose. Because I'm pretty sure, this would be the 50th anniversary of the 1972 Dolphins. So it'd be fitting if the Dolphins were the last team to lose. But I don't think that's going to happen. Tua's built different, and Joe Woods is also built different. Nice throw. Eagles going down. I mean, for my narratives that include the Jaguars, I would not be opposed to that. Since I am here pushing the Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk agenda, I guess go Jags. I don't know. What is good, Jax? Welcome in. Your daily reminder that Joe Flacco is him against the Browns. Joe Woods is just an L plus ratio as a person. I mean, I would think the Jets fan would like him, though, because he handed them the win. I do want to have a point in fantasy, but I also have Trevor Lawrence on my team. I don't have Christian Kirk, though. I think it's the only league where I don't have Christian Kirk. So, I made a mistake. I think I kind of jumped on the Kirk bandwagon after that draft before all the other ones I did. So, I might have made an oopsies there by not picking him. Matt Patricia and Joe Woods. Imagine them on the same coaching staff. And yeah, throw in Matt Canada. Jelani Woods bandwagon. Weren't those his first 2 catches of his career? I mean, that's pretty impressive that they both were in for scores. Speaking of scores, very nice run here by Jaden Jackson to put the Wizards ahead by 2 scores. So the Wizards are now up by 11. Does it shock you if I have T-Law and Kirk? That would not shock me. And if you do have them, then you're smart. Because both of those guys were picked later than they should have. And I grabbed both of them in almost every league that I'm in. And I'm happy I did. Good run by Hurts. Ronnie Stanley was a full participant today. That's a first in, like, what, a while? Lost by .42 last week. Ouch. That stings. OKC's got to show a little sense of urgency. They haven't had many big plays, and since they're down by 11, they could kind of use one. Jalen Hurts has gone deep a few times today, but it just hasn't really worked. Third and 8. Hurts is going to look to run for the first down, and he does. Maybe he should look to run it more. Just get the Eagles' game plan from the Detroit game and put it here. Saying Jalen Hurts is mid is disrespectful to mid. He's that mid. He's been about as mid as it gets today. Look at him go again. Hey, it looks like they listened to my advice. Take the Detroit game and use it. All right, third quarter's in the books. The Wizards look good, but I wouldn't say they look great. They do lead by 11, so they should be fine. Is this Patrick? Has Patrick even gotten the ball today? He's done nothing. A -7 catches for 91 yards, yeah. How come I haven't even noticed him, yet he has 100 yards? Huh, okay then. What record is the Niners? They're like, what, probably a game above 500? 7-6? I don't know for sure, but I think that's what they are. That was Patrick again. He lost yards that time, though. Did a halfback screen just work? I mean, I guess it did. They gained 4. So it didn't not work. 3rd and goal at the 3. If they don't get it here, you could rationalize kicking a field goal because they'd be down by 8. I would probably go for it. But it looks like that's not going to be an issue because Alvin Kamara is in for the score. They're probably going to go for 2. Look to make it a clean 3-point game. Where was this defense last week against the Ravens when we lost 48-45? That's a good question. Hurts on the run. Got it. And he's in. Pat Fryer move. It's a 3-point game. The Bison could win it. Banana. What's good, Colin? Welcome in. The Wizards are still in a good spot, but they've got to run the ball well, and maybe a deep pass or two wouldn't hurt. I mean, they have guys who can, go downfield. Yeah, you guys, I think, would be 7-6 since it's week 15, and I think everybody's gotten their buys done, so that would mean everybody's played 13 games, so you're probably 7-6. The Bison coach will teleport onto the field to drop the kick returner on the field like Mike Tomlin. Didn't Mike Tomlin say he was looking at the Jumbotron and, didn't mean it? I mean, smart play by him. I mean, there's a reason why Mike Tomlin's as good as he is and still gets no credit. There's Jaden Jackson in the house, 72-yard touchdown. He's been quite good today. Jaden Jackson. Oh, yeah, the Niners' strength of schedule is brutal. You guys do play 4 really good teams. You play the Rams, obviously, this week. Then you have the Browns. Did I put your game on week 17? Yeah, the Wizards. Eek. That is tough. Browns defense will come up clutch for you in week 16. Yeah, I don't know about that. Imagine if the Niners do actually win a game that we hop into. That'd be impressive. You play the Rams twice. That's not the worst thing because it gives you the opportunity to win the division, but you probably have to win both games. So I guess it's not the worst thing because it gives you the opportunity to win the division. Be 8-6 if we didn't lose to the Wizards and the Jets. Yeah, losing to the Jets is not the best luck. Although scoring 45 on the Wizards is pretty impressive considering their defense has been pretty good today. Seahawks are technically not mathematically eliminated. They might be. How many wins? So Seattle is, what, 3 or 4? I think they had 3. They might have 4. We can check before we simulate. They're either mathematically eliminated or as close as it gets. That should have been intercepted. Respect for taking the deep shot. I mean, Jalen Hurts has tried to go deep today. It's just never worked. Got to beat DJ. We don't slander DJ. He torched Wake Forest's defense last week, and he's him again. So, yeah, the bandwagon is back on. If the Seahawks get the last playoff spot, I swear. I mean, they know how to win in the playoffs. They're what, 7-1, 8-1 in the playoffs in OFL 22. There's definitely not a team who has more playoff wins this year than Seattle. Obviously, they have more OFL Bowl wins than the entire league combined over the last 3 years. So, I mean, they've shown they can do it. It's just that they got to get in, and their 1-10 start or whatever is not gonna help them do that. Nice sack. Is that Judon? I think so. Why is he wearing 36? What a weird number for Matthew Judon. Okay. You're above 500 in the playoffs. Yeah, I guess that's true, because you won 2 games in Season 1, so you went 2-1, and you haven't been back since. Jax is still yet to win a playoff game. And he's never missed the play. Well, he hasn't won one this year. But, I mean, you do have to give him credit that he's never missed the playoff. Oh, wow, DPI, that's kind of a big deal. It is impressive that he has not missed the playoffs once since he's become a coach last year. Not counting the sim year. I have no idea how his team did in the sim year. Technically, you're 1-1 in the playoffs. I guess technically, in that one win, we don't need to talk about that. And Denmark here has never lost in the playoffs. That's pretty impressive. So OKC's down by 3. I don't think you go for the onside kick here, but I wouldn't be totally surprised. Okay, it doesn't look like it. So they trust their run defense. Now, Jaden Jackson's been balling today. So, I don't know how likelihood of the chance they have to stopping him. We'll see if Orlando can finish up the job. All right, now we're at the 2-minute warning. The Bison are going to have to start burning their timeouts. Malik Willis, future Cardinal. It's inevitable. Too bad I'm going to win the OFL Bowl this year, and then I retire until OFL 23. Well, you got to win a playoff game for... Oh, wow, they got the first down. I didn't think they did. Well, that's kind of the big deal. Another first down officially ends it. Jax has his whole plan set out. It'd be a damn shame if we lost him a wild card round again. I mean, they're projected to play in Salt Lake City against the Pioneers. Salt Lake City's a freaking good team. There are 5 or 6 legit contenders in the AFC. It's a lot harder to get out of that conference than the NFC, who... I mean, honestly, I would argue the 5 best teams in the league are in the AFC. I mean, I don't think anybody in the NFC is better than the Dolphins, the Browns, the Wizards, the Tigers, and maybe... Hell, I would throw the Pioneers in there. I would say those are the 5 best teams in the league, regardless of conference. I don't think anybody in the NFC is better. Nice stop by the Bison, and with an incomplete pass in there, there's still 1:40 to go, and all they need is a field goal. What about the Washington football team? Well, you guys are certainly at the top of the NFC, but I wouldn't say anybody in the NFC, even Washington, Carolina, the Rams, I don't think those teams are quite at the tier of those top 5 AFC teams. Halfway done your practice test. Yay, maybe you'll be done right when we finish the stream. Yeah, the Cardinals did beat the Panthers somehow, some way. How's our team like? Well, you're pretty good. I mean, you have what? You have 9 wins, 9-4. In a pretty tough division. I mean, the Giants are good. The Bats aren't horrible. The Black Knights can score. Their defense may be atrocious, but they can score. Where would I rank the Ravens? Probably in the middle. On paper, certainly higher than the middle. But, I mean, at this point, record's more important than paper. Another sack by the Wizards. Clock is ticking. Keep in mind, all the Bison need is a field goal to tie the game. Maybe they'll complete a deep pass for once. Or maybe they're going to throw short, inbounds, like complete morons. And waste 20 seconds off the clock. There's a good throw. They're not far away from field goal range. If I was them, I wouldn't. Don't be afraid to throw it inbounds. 10-yard gain, spike the ball, kick the field goal. That does not sound like a bad plan. But they got to get back to the line of scrimmage in time, and they're not going to. Why would they have Jalen Hurts in shotgun, snap the damn ball and spike it, and kick the field goal? So OKC fumbles the clock at the end of both the first and second half, and thus they lose, and thus really any realistic shot of them making the playoffs is pretty much thrown out the window. As for Orlando, they had another win-to-win column. It would take a miracle for them not to make the playoffs at this point. 2.5 sacks for Judon. Did that just say Jalen Hurts at the top of the interception thing? Why does he have the tackle? They didn't turn the ball over, so how would he have gotten a tackle? Did they have Jalen Hurts on special teams? What? Okay. Bison OC is fuming in the press box just like Ted Dorsey. All right, it's sim time. Here we go. I am worried. Who do we play against? Oh, we play the Pioneers. Oh, great. Just awesome. Don't lose by more than 20, and I will consider it a half success. All right, here we go. London, how many points do they allow this week? 35. They lose to Seattle. How many wins in a row had the Seahawks gotten? What has happened? They've won 3 of 4, and now they have 4 wins. Good for the Seahawks. That's like the same amount of wins that they probably had in the entire long-term sim. Or the preseason sim, through the 3 we did. They probably had 4 wins total. Kyler's starting to play well, although he got injured, and Brody Kirkland came in and was actually not that bad. Seahawks are going to the playoffs confirmed. So the Black Knights are going to have a very, very high draft pick. Maybe they can finally pick a corner or 2. I don't care if the top projected corner is supposed to go in the 3rd round. That's what they need to use their first round pick on. The Broncos have won 4 of 5. They beat the Dolphins 28-17. So this probably means we're going to have a new 1 seed in the AFC. The Dolphins should still clinch the division. I think the Dolphins need a win or a beats loss, if I remember correctly. So the Dolphins should still be fine. But they're playing for seeding and can't really afford to lose games because they've got teams like the Cleveland Browns right on their tail. The Browns went 34-17. I think they're probably the 1 seed now. Russ was not great for his standards. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't, like, phenomenal. He was definitely better than Demaryius Johnson, though. I.T. Thomas, 4.6. He doubled his average. Jalen Waddle was pretty good. Yatir Gross-Matos and Nick Bosa with a pair of sacks each. The Bucks still suck. They've lost 4 in a row to a few questionable teams, including the Bats, who they get killed by. Why do I have a weird feeling the Bats are going to, like, sneak in and get the 7th seed? I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about that. And they're going to get smoked by probably Washington or Carolina or the Rams. The Cardinals. They only lost by 5. The Cardinals probably covered the spread. And they outgained the Bears by 150. Carson Strong, 4 touchdowns. Trayvon Smith actually was pretty good. Antonio Gibson was quite solid. Nah, Seahawks 7 seed. No, you're right. Screw the Bats. What did you miss? We watched your game for week 15. You guys barely beat the Bison, but a win's a win. So you guys are what? 10-4? 9-5? Something like that. The Chiefs beat the football team 10-7. No points were scored in the second half. Good win for Kansas City. Washington falls. The Giants very well could certainly catch them. The Diablos beat the Giants, so I guess the Giants don't make up any ground this week. In overtime, wow, the Diablos had a big fourth quarter comeback. They were down by 14. Tied it and then won in overtime. Baker Mayfield was very good. Macaroni and cheese wasn't too bad either. Connor Finley. Who is this and why is he so good? I've never seen that name in my life. The Dolphins lost. The Falcons Lose to the Panthers, so this pretty much means Carolina's going to win the division. I don't know if they've clinched with this win, but Carolina pretty much has it. Clyde scored 3 times on the ground. Football team lost. Niners. Wow. They demolished the Rams 48-21. The NFC West just got real interesting, folks. Trey Lance, or should I say Lap Dance Lance, threw for 5 touchdowns. I think it's fair to say he's going to get some nice LA lap dances after this game. Jarvis Landry, I thought that said 2 catches for 3 touchdowns for a second. John Vincent was very good in the air. So what, is it a 1-game difference now? These 2 teams play in San Francisco week 18. We might need to watch that game. The Rams are certainly hoping we do. The Huskies have lost 5 in a row. They still have not won since the Hector trade. This time they lose to Baltimore. Jacoby Brissett was damn good, though. He actually was better than Dan. Zeke, 8. Chase Claypool was very good as well. Based on that box score, I would guess Toronto would win if I didn't know the score. The Jags lose to the Tigers. So Chicago and Orlando, I believe, are still tied for first. Trevor Lawrence was pretty good. Noah Syverson was solid as well. Threw for a lot of yards. J.K. Dobbins was good. Quez Watkins, hello. Jackson Smith, the Jigbo, also had a good game. The Jets beat the Saints in a late-season tank bowl, 37-27. So the Jets win the game, but I think New Orleans is probably the real winner. Auden Tate had a big performance. Jacoby Drons with 3 sacks. The Lions still suck. They have won 1 game since week 8. And that was against us. Oh, great. At least we play against them next week. Deshaun Watson was solid. He outplayed Lamar Jackson, even though he lost. Jonathan Taylor was good. Kenny Golladay is on Detroit. I didn't even realize that. And he's wearing 89. Ew. Well, he's looking like Detroit Kenny Golladay today and not New York Kenny Golladay. The Panthers won. The Pats lost. The Pioneers show me the money. 15-17. What an odd score, but I'll take it. The defense came up clutch today, although Hector Estrada was quite good. Wow, he was really good. This is why I traded for him. Malik Willis isn't doing this consistently. Jerome Diggs was okay. He wasn't bad. Wow, we shut down Joe Mixon. That says something about our run defense. Although our run offense I'm a little bit concerned about, because why was Najee 3rd in carries? That would imply Najee got hurt. That's not good. Pittman and Ruggs both played well. Good win. This is a good win. Marcus Lawrence, 3 sacks. Why is our pass rush so mid? Can these guys, wake up? Jets are right where they want to be. The Rams lost. The Ravens won. The Saints lost. Seattle won. Shamrocks won. Tigers won. Vikings won. Yay. And we get back to the Wizards. All right, Week 15 is adjourned. Let's see who won Players of the Week. Those gosh darn nears. Trey Lance, Baker Mayfield, Jacoby Drons, and Asante Samuel Jr. Did Columbus... I don't think we saw Columbus. Did I skip over them? Who did they play against? I don't remember seeing their game. They lost to the Beats. Yeah, we did not see this. So, Brooklyn's offense is still on fire. Joe Burrow is cooking. Dawson Knox, Hottie Toddy, Scotty Miller, also very good. We used the Bison. That explains it. Yeah, we are on the Bison. So that's why we skipped them, because they're both in between the Wizards and the Bison. We saw everybody else here, right? We saw the Bats. They won. The Bears won. Yeah, okay. Good catch. All right, let's take a look at the standings here with 3 weeks to go. How many teams have clinched? Carolina has punched their ticket to the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they're the only ones. I don't think they had clinched prior. So, congrats to the Panthers. They're in. So the Browns need to win, and they're good. The rest of this division is quite an interesting mishmash. You got the Ravens, Shamrocks, and Aviators all tied at 7-7. Quite the wild card race we have in the AFC, which the Browns are lucky to not have to worry about. AFC South, the Wizards and Tigers are tied for first. Bison and Jags are pretty much dead now. The Dolphins, all they need to do is win or have the Beats lose, and the Dolphins clinch the division. Pioneers are still a game ahead of the Chiefs and Diablos in the West, but not a great week for Salt Lake City. The Bears are 2 games ahead of Minnesota. The Vikings are making some noise in this division race, and we play against each other in Week 17. That's a huge game. Huskies and Lions are pretty much out of the race. Panthers clinch a playoff spot, pretty close to clinching the division over Atlanta. Washington is a game ahead of the Giants. And the Rams are only a game ahead of San Francisco now. Is it true that your magic number is 1? It is definitely 1. All you got to do is win, and you clinch the division. So let's check on Seattle's playoff chances. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they need 8 wins. The most they can get is 7. So unfortunately, the Seahawks are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. No 7th seed for them. I told you it's going to Austin. Here's the new playoff bracket. Let me compare it to last week. How many big changes do we have? In the AFC, it's the exact same teams. The only difference is that the Browns and Dolphins have swapped. In the NFC, the Bears move up from 4 to 2. So Washington and the Rams each move down a spot. The Falcons are still 5, the Giants are still 6, and the Bucs are replaced by the Niners. So not many changes other than a few seeding switches towards the top and the Niners replacing the Bucs. So not a lot of changes, but with how close these conferences are, I think we will see some substantial changes pretty soon. All right, this is our Simcast game today. We have the Browns and the Niners. Siri, pick a number between 1 and 2. 1, that is Cleveland. If the Browns win, they clinch the division. If the Niners win, then they will have the same amount of wins as the Rams, who are currently in first place of the West. We should watch this game anyways. Well, we're not, so sorry. Normal whites on orange. So, like, orange pants? Which ones are those again? Yeah, those ones. All black. That means the Niners are going to win. Don't let me down in the all blacks, please. Which ones are those? The alternates? Yeah, those are the right ones. All right, cool. Boom. Here we go. The Browns are the number 1 seed of the AFC. They can clinch the division with a win. The Niners, meanwhile, have hopped into 7th place in the NFC with a big win last week, led by Lap Dance Lance. And the Niners can make some even more ground. I guess for our playoff hopes, we kind of need the Niners to lose, so go Browns. Good start for Cleveland. Niners answer right back. Now the Niners take the lead. Cleveland adds a field goal. Niners offense is looking damn good. It isn't a watched game unless Cleveland's defense is cheeks. Although the Browns tie it, we might need to hop in soon. All right, we're going to go a little bit slower. Niners are up by 7. They get a stop. Oh, boy. Are the Niners actually going to win a Simcast game? They're up by 10. If the Browns score, we'll hop in. 4th and 6. Did they get it? They get 7. And then they get 29. And then they get sacked. 3rd and 19. Why would they give the ball to IT? That sounds dumb. 4th and 21. They take the points. We're going to hop in and watch. Let's see if San Francisco can finish off the game. They have Nick Chubb at running back. So, if there's anyone you want in a chew clock situation, it's probably him. Are the Niners actually going to win a watched game? I never thought I would see the day. Is the streak over? The Niners watched game success versus the Browns defense. It's the stoppable force versus the movable object. Two-minute warning. Cleveland does have all three of their timeouts, as does San Francisco. White on orange does look good. Both of these jersey combos look good. I feel like I'm watching an OFL 20 game. Which makes sense considering the Niners are winning, and they have to call a timeout. Hilton is injured. So they have to use an injury timeout. That's a big break for Cleveland. Now 3rd and 2. Chubb stiff arms the defender. Or let me rephrase. Demolishes the defender. Now Khalil Lawrence is injured, and the Niners use another timeout. So the Niners just ran 3 offensive plays, and Cleveland did not have to use a single timeout. Imagine if the Niners didn't get that. The Browns would get the ball with all 3 timeouts. That would have been wild. So Cleveland's still in it, kind of, but Nick Chubb appears to have other plans. Rather than tackling him, their best chance of making a play might as well just be trying to like peanut punch the ball out. Chubb gets the first. And now Cleveland's starting to burn these timeouts. 7-7. Can we beat the Bears? I hope so, because we need all the Bears losses we can get. So if the Niners run 3 more plays and don't convert, the Browns are going to get the ball back in time for 1 Hail Mary. Unless they force a turnover or the Niners get it. Which the latter is certainly possible. Or maybe not. Loss of 3 for the Chubster. Wrapped up by Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Now it's a 3rd and 10. Yeah, they're going to have time for 1 Hail Mary. The Niners should just run the ball. No reason to get cute. Can Nick Chubb finish it off here? No, he does not. What if the Niners kick? They should 1,000% punt it and not do anything stupid. Are they idiots? If you want to not punt, you might as well go for it. I feel like I'm watching the Lions game last week. Why are they kicking? Oh my God, what a horrible play call. Is Dan Campbell on the Niners sideline? That's literally almost the exact same situation we were in. But just we were up by less. So now Cleveland has a much more doable Hail Mary. Instead of being at like the 15, they're at the 46. Nick knows a thing or two about Hail Marys. Russ for the end zone. Incomplete. Oh, that was close. So the Niners survive. They win it 34-27. San Francisco breaks the curse. They've won a Simcast game and move up to 9-6. Cleveland still does not clinch the division. Now, if everybody loses in the AFC North, then Cleveland can clinch the division that way. We're going to the Super Bowl. So the Niners, with their tough schedule, are 2-0 so far. And Lapdance Lance was pretty damn good. He outplayed Russell Wilson. Nick Chubb was good. I.T. Thomas back to his usual form. John Vincent is still him, as is Jamar Chase. Niners allowed a lot of sacks. And still won. 2.5 for Bosa, 2.5 for Javon Kinlaw. So a good win for San Francisco. Their stock is certainly up here within the last, 15 minutes. All right, let's sim. Don't lose to Massage Man, please. Please. If we can beat the Pioneers, I would hope we could beat Detroit. All right, let's see what happens. The Bucks are still balls. They allowed 52. Jesus Christ. Tampa Bay is brutally bad. Aaron Rodgers only threw 2 touchdowns. He wasn't even that good. So, did McCaffrey go off? Yeah, he did. Kenneth Walker also scored twice. So So a big rebounded win for the Dolphins, and they're probably back to being the 1 seed, I would think. Have you shown our game? You guys lost your first game. Jacoby Brissett was really good, but you still lost, and we haven't shown your game this week yet. The Cardinals, I think they've clinched the #1 pick at this point, right? They had to have. I don't know if anybody has less than 4 wins except for them. So Arizona's getting the #1 pick. Good win for Atlanta. They're probably going to make the playoffs. Atlanta, I think, has 10 wins now. The Chiefs lose to the Bison. Jalen Hurts was pretty good. Josh Allen was not pretty good. And Jeff Sims even got to play a little bit. The Bison still need, like, the biggest miracle ever, but I don't... No, they probably are mathematically eliminated now that I think about it, because they have 9 losses. So, yeah, I don't think they had a chance. The Diablos win again over the football team. Is there a collapse in Landover, Maryland? Maybe, just maybe. Baker Mayfield was really good again. The Diablos are probably going to make the playoffs. They're good. They're quietly really good. 4 sacks allowed by Mexico City's left tackle. Big games for Montez Sweat and Yannick Ngakoue. Change my OC playbook. I only make playbook changes in between streams, so you can put it in for the next stream. Are we out of the playoffs? Probably. If you win today, maybe not. But if you lose, yeah. Well, the Huskies didn't lose. 35-28, first win in the post-Hector era. Why is Jacoby Brissett so good? Okay, sure. Zonovan Knight, 3 touchdowns. The Giants are severely missing Saquon Barkley, although Knight was good, as was Jimmy Jackson. 9 for 188 and 3. It's like 50 PPR fantasy points. The Huskies obviously won. The Jags did not. They lose to Dublin. The Shamrocks are 2-0 today, so this means Cleveland does not clinch the division this week, unless they beat Dublin twice, which they probably did, since 2 of their losses are to Columbus, unless they haven't played the Aviators twice yet, which I'm not sure off the top of my head. Three sacks by Keon Johnson, the #1 pick out of Baylor. The Jets lose to the Beats. So Brooklyn is very much still alive in the playoff race, but they cannot win the division. I just realized now, since the Dolphins scored 52, the Dolphins have clinched the AFC East. So now the Beats can only get a wild card spot, but with how well Brooklyn has played over the last 2 months, they should probably get one of those spots. Pretty impressive run by their offense. The Lions. Thank God. We scored 17 last week and we scored 41 this week. I think we're like 4-1 since the trade. So clearly it's worked out. Hector's balling on his new team. It took him a little bit to get acclimated, but Toronto Hector is here. Nice completion percentage, by the way, outperforming Massage Boy. Najee Harris was not injured, thank God. He played, and he played pretty well, as did Michael Pittman, who I think wants a contract extension. And he has certainly earned it. I know we were talking about the best tight ends in the league a couple days ago. I feel like Michael Pittman probably belongs in that conversation. He's been great in sim and in watched. The Panthers beat the Saints, so I believe Carolina... Actually, I don't think they do clinch the division, because they're still only 2 games ahead of Atlanta. So, I don't think they have yet. Unless they've beaten Atlanta twice, which I guess we can check. I know they beat Atlanta last week. Did they play against Atlanta earlier? They play on week 18. So Carolina does not clinch the division yet, but all they need to do is win another game. Aviators beat the Pats. So a good win for Columbus, who needs all the wins they can get in the AFC wildcard race. Sam Laporta with a big game. While New England looks for pick 2. I don't think they're bad enough to get pick 1. The Pioneers get back on the win column, beating the Red Hot Broncos 47-41 in overtime. A lot of points. Jerome Diggs, 6 touchdowns. This makes me feel really good about our defensive performance last week against these guys. Stopping Jerome Diggs and Joe Mixon, who are both very, very good. Big game for Jaden Hasselwood. Can we watch the Jacoby Hector Bowl? When do we play you next? Is that this week? We play the Bears this week. Yeah, we play week 18. Well, the Huskies are probably not going to be in the playoff race by then. And we simcast every game in week 18, so at worst we'll simcast it. The Rams beat Seattle, so Seattle's reign of terror, I guess, is over. And the Rams are still ahead of the Niners in the division despite a big fourth quarter comeback from the Seahawks. Kyler was pretty good. He was maybe a little bit better than DJ Uiagalelei. The Ravens lose to the Bears. Damn it. That's not good. So if the Bears beat the Vikings this week, then Chicago clinches the North. So please don't lose, guys. Max Crosby had a pick. Okay. The Saints. Still... did we see this already? Yeah, we did. Seattle lost. Shamrocks won. The Tigers beat the Wizards. I didn't even realize they played against each other this week. So they split the season series. But maybe more importantly, the Tigers are now a game ahead of Orlando. So they take over first place in the South. Mahomes and Lawrence were both very good. So Chicago, could they have passed Cleveland for the 2 seed? Maybe. Well, I guess whoever wins their game next week will finish with a higher seed. Who did we use her? We used her to the Niners. Or did we use her for Browns? No, we used her to the Browns. The Black Knights allow 31 more points because their defense is still AIDS. Maybe I've spoken into existence that the Bats are going to make the playoffs. The NFC might be a little too good, though. Although the NFC is worse than the AFC. But the NFC has some teams. They have some teams. The Beats, we saw that. We saw that. We saw that. We saw that. And that brings us back to the Browns. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence was on the Pats, and he was traded in the offseason for a lot of picks. And Christian McCaffrey, who was then traded to the Dolphins. Can you speak into existence a Huskies playoff berth? No, I think I'm good. Players of the Week. Jacoby Brissett, Jerome Diggs, Josie Jewell, and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. How do we lose to a team with 0 corners? London? Did you guys lose to London this year? They, in fact, have 0 corners. Has anybody else clinched? The Dolphins clinched the division, and the Tigers have clinched a playoff spot. So these 3 teams are officially in. With 2 weeks to go, we still have 11 tickets to be punched. That's a lot. And a lot of teams are probably going to clinch this week. This is probably one of the more exciting playoff races we've had in recent years because across the board, so many close division races, only one division has been clinched, and both wildcard races are looking really exciting. So the Browns could still clinch the division with a win, but the Shamrocks and Aviators are still technically alive. The Tigers clinch a playoff spot. They can clinch the division with a win and Wizards' loss. The Dolphins clinch the East, but the Beats are one of the hottest teams in the league. They've got a real playoff shot. The Pioneers can clinch the division with a win and a Mexico City loss. So Salt Lake City gets back on the win column in a big way. The Bears can clinch with a win over the Vikings. Please win, guys. Please, I beg. Carolina can clinch the division with a win or an Atlanta loss. Washington, they can clinch the division with a win and a Giants loss. The Rams can clinch the division with a win and a Niners loss. So technically, every division can be clinched in this week, I think. That's kind of crazy. Can Jimmy Jackson win Rookie of the Year? I don't know. I'd have to look more at all the rookies' numbers. So here's the playoff picture. The Beats have jumped into 7th place. The Niners... Oh, I thought the Niners were out for a second, but they're at 6. Why would the Niners be out? How could they be 7th and then be out after winning? The Dolphins are back to the 1 seed. The Tigers have jumped Cleveland. All right, so now we have the Browns and the Tigers, one of the biggest OFL rivalries since last year, Nick and Jax. Nick seems to always beat Jax's team, but the Tigers are red hot. Siri, give me a whole number between 1 and 2. 1. Get off your phone. I can't control when I get texts. Oh, we're already on the Browns. Okay, perfect. So Nick and Jax can pick their jerseys. Can we simcast Beats and Shamrocks? No, because that game didn't get enough votes. But next week we're going to simcast every game. Regular homes, okay, easy enough. Who texted you? My mother texted me. I don't think I can riz her up. Normal all whites. So this, I assume. All right, week 17. 2 of the best teams in the AFC. 2 of the biggest rivals in the AFC. That's not it. Isn't that the normal all whites? The white pants and the... Hold on. Reading is hard. He said all whites, but not the... not the throwback pants. Oh. Well, then what other white pants would there be? All right, take 2. Let's try it again. Would the home pants be white? Okay, is there a difference? There's, like, not a different... Oh, the stripe might be different. Yeah, okay. There's a very vague difference in the stripe of the pants. I'm sorry it's that big of a deal. All right, now we could start. Week 17. Trevor Lawrence looked like he was born to be in those colors. Probably because he was for 3 years. The Tigers can clinch the division today with a win and an Orlando loss. Nick seems to own Jax, but Jax has a chance to change that today. We've already seen one watched game streak involving the Browns end. That being the Niners finally winning. So maybe Jax's streak can end as well. Can we simcast Chiefs and Huskies? No, we're not simcasting any other games today. Almost every game is important. So I know people are trying to point out that their games are super important, but practically every game on the schedule is really important. Jax? Oh, Jax did beat you and watched. Oh. Okay, forget everything I said about Jax never beating Nick. Because apparently it's not true. Could we simcast Beats and... For the same reason with Hector's thing, pretty much every game is important. So it wouldn't be fair for me to just simcast one game for no real reason other than playoff implications when probably 80% of the games this week have playoff implications. In 2.5 years of coaching, how have I done? You've done, I would say, pretty well, minus the Hector trade, which is kind of looking like a mistake, although Jacoby Brissett looks really good. Could we just vote? Well, everyone's going to vote for their own game. So, I don't know what a vote would really do. Third and 1. They are probably going to run it. We'll see if Cleveland's ready. I think he was stopped. Why did he cut to the right? He had open room on the left side to get that. But I guess he wanted to meet Nick Bosa. Cardinals game, super important. Oh, yeah, if we simcast a game, it's probably going to be Arizona, of course. IT Thomas type beat. You're not wrong. Do we get a what a punt? Oh, what a punt! Down at the 2. That's about as good as it gets. So now we get to see the MVP frontrunner, Russell Wilson. His numbers are, well, pretty damn good. Around 5,000 yards. He has a shot to break the yards record. Along with 43 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I would say, still at this point, even though he hasn't been as good the past few weeks, he's probably the only choice for first place. I don't think anybody else is really in the conversation. Third and 3. I'm curious to see how far Russell Wilson's going to be willing to drop back because the end zone's only a few yards away. Well, I guess that's about as smart of a play as he could have made. Quickly found an open receiver, made sure he wasn't in the face of any pressure, and now the Browns are out of safety range. There's a little pitch, I think, for Waddle. No, that's Smith. That looked like Waddle's body type, but I guess both Smith and Waddle are not the biggest. Remember when I fleeced you for an 80? I got your first-round pick for a backup. I don't think I got fleeced. I'm quite happy with that trade because he was not going to start for us. Because we have Cam Curl and Javon Holland. We didn't need him. I just signed him for trade bait, and it worked. I got a first-round pick, a probably high first-round pick out of it. I mean, I guess he's a good starter for you, but I'll take a free top 10 pick when I can get one. Maybe if we had Julian Blackmon, we wouldn't be behind the Bears. So maybe I'm wrong, but who knows? Russ has gone short quite a bit so far. I'm getting some check down corral flashbacks. Now those are the days. You got, oh yeah, you did get your pick back in the Hector trade. That's right. But still, it worked out for us because we got a Hector out of it. So that's even better than a top 10 pick. Although we gave up a lot of extra stuff too, but... Jeff Russ is cooking these checkdowns. Here's Devontae Smith again. Maybe he should be the running back instead of IT. Cleveland now is in the red zone. So far, so good. The 7 and 8 still playoff contention. I think the 7th seed is 8 and 7. Although there's a lot of 8 and 7 teams behind them. But 7 and 8 is not mathematically eliminated. Second and 2. I don't think he got it. Xander Horvath, the big fullback, he did not get it. So, naturally, on 3rd and inches, the Browns are going to run shotgun with 4 receivers because, well, of course, obvious run play. I don't know. And I guess it worked. IT Thomas to the 1. Probably one more play before the end of the quarter if they get it off. And they will not. So there's no score here through the first quarter, but Cleveland has it on the 1-yard line. So They're pretty close to completing a 98-yard drive. And they punch it in. It's IT Thomas who finishes off the drive. It's been a quarter already. Somehow. You finished your practice test. How fun. I remember when we had like those practice tests last year on College Board, I just looked up most of the answers on Quizlet and studied them because our teacher gave us like the same questions. So you just had to memorize the answers. It was really easy. That's our strategy. Keep the defense off the field. Well, that's probably the best strategy you can make. There's a nice throw for Jamison Williams. He's missed some time this year, but we know when the ball is in his hands, he is quite explosive. As he will be in real life. Defenses beware. IT Thomas is a real shot at 1,000 yards. He's at 848. That's crazy. Has he gotten the ball like 500 times this year? Has JMO played yet? JMO's probably going to be back week 7 after the bye week. Assuming all goes well, which all seems to be going well. So he'll probably return for the Dallas game, along with, I assume that's probably when DeAndre Swift is going to come back too. So they're both going to be back week 7. It's going to be fun times for the offense, as Trevor Lawrence nearly with a great throw to the end zone. Remember when Jamison Williams caught Hector? Oh, yeah, Hector was on the Tigers. I often forget about that. The Tigers have had quite an array of backup quarterbacks. They had Hector. Did they have Jerome Diggs, too? They might have had Jerome Diggs. They had Trayvon Smith. And now they have Tom Brady. Those are 4 young, intriguing quarterbacks. Hold on. Time to pull up the clip. He only got half a sack, but still, half a sack counts for something. Pretty good punt inside the 20. Cleveland gets it back. Yeah, the Tigers' offense really must suck. They have 2 punts against Cleveland. I mean, do you think the Tigers' offense is good? I mean, J.K. Dobbins is balling out this year. The Tigers' offense used to be so good and watched, and now they're struggling against friggin' Cleveland. Why not just use the Tom Brady strategy of saying, F it. Jamison Williams or Mecole Hardman is just going to run faster than the other corner, so just throw it up to them. Imagine punting against the Browns. Tom Brady needs to come back in the game. He knew what to do with this offense. I guess Trevor Lawrence doesn't, because I don't think we've watched Trevor Lawrence with the Tigers offense. Ross off his back foot heaves up a prayer, and it is caught by Jamar Chase, who breaks a tackle, and he is going to make it all the way to the 1. A lot happened in that play. There's a lot to take in there. So Russ chucks it off his back foot, first and foremost. What a throw. Chase catches it. The corner completely misplays it. The corner then misplays the tackle, and Chase nearly takes it to the house. A lot happened there. And they score on the very next play. Does the backup running back wear number 15? Leonard Fournette, fatty. That's ironic. You have IT wearing 14 and Leonard Fournette wearing 15. I think Karl Malone is a big fan of the Cleveland backfield. Just a hunch I have. So the Browns are steamrolling early. Now, I still think the Tigers' offense can make a game out of this. We know how bad the Browns' defense is and watched often. But Cleveland looks really darn good. This looks like a team who can make a deep playoff run. And I think the Tigers have the ability to do so, too. Get rid of 15 and give him to me. No, he should be mine. He was on our team last year. Time to allow an 82-yard bomb. Well, I mean, if any team's going to do it, it's going to be the team with two of the probably three fastest receivers in the entire game. And Kayshon Boutte, who's pretty good as well. Trayvon Diggs is hurt. Okay, so now maybe the Tigers won't be able to get a lawn bomb. I'm kidding, partly. I'll still die on the hill that Trayvon Diggs is underrated. Crazy that the Tigers don't even have the best receiving core in this game. Yeah, you might be right. I mean, the Tigers have had probably maybe the best receiving, I guess, I don't know if I would say on paper receiving core, but the way they complement each other, probably the best receiving group in OFL 22. And right as I say that, Jameson Williams makes me completely fight my words for a 72-yard touchdown, so maybe I should just shut up and let the Tigers do their thing. I guess Tom Brady had a talking to with Trevor Lawrence on the sideline, and now Lawrence knows what to do. Who is 30? Probably the guy behind Trayvon Diggs on the depth chart. Why don't the Tigers just do that every play? Just launch a 50-yard, streak. Can I sign number 30 to my waiters? Those Rocky Sen. Where are the read options? Yeah, really. The Tigers' entire offense is 50-yard bombs and read options. I guess they got rid of the read op. Wow, Tommy Tremble's going to be at 100 catches. That's a lot. And he already has 1,000 yards. Michael Pittman clears, but he's pretty good too. Cleveland's still certainly in the driver's seat. They're up by 7, and they have the ball, and they start with the ball in the second half. Not much for IT. He has a whopping 6 yards today. Third and 3. Russ goes deep down the field, and it is caught, but out of bounds. Close call. When is the fan meetup in Arizona? Why would I do it in Arizona? When, 90% of the country lives east of the Mountain Time Zone? Are we going to get a water punt? Ooh, very close. Both teams should just stop running the ball. You might be onto something. So the Tigers can tie it. Imagine saying that 3 minutes ago. But they have a chance to tie it before half. Trevor Lawrence dancing in the pocket. He's sacked. That's not a Jabo, is it? 99. I think that's Kinlaw. So I guess I don't get to put the sound on. Second and long. Short throw into the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I didn't think a Jabo was 99. Third and 17, they just run the ball. I don't think I would have done that with the speed they had their receiver. That's kind of questionable. They do force the Browns to burn a timeout, but I would have tried to be aggressive there. I mean, you don't get 11 wins from just being conservative like that. Pretty good punt, though. Inside the 20. This punter's pretty good. Both punters are pretty good. Well, I guess the Browns have Johnny Hecker, so that would make sense. Cleveland's going to have 46 seconds and 2 timeouts, looking to make it a 2-score game. And again, they open up with the ball in the second half, and short throws aren't going to do much. Except for burn timeouts or burn time, which I don't think Cleveland wants to do either of those. Johnny Hecker is a punter. Unless Nick made him his kicker, which I don't think he did. That's not a bad play, but he's in bounds. So they call a timeout. But unlike most teams, they didn't waste 10 seconds and then do it. I would look for an out route or just throw a Hail Mary at this point. No reason to throw a 15-yard pass up the middle. We saw what happened with the Bison earlier today. Don't throw it to IT. Okay, he's going to chuck it up, as he should, and it is caught. They're not going to have enough time, though. So it almost worked, but it didn't. And so that'll wrap up the first half. The Browns do lead 14-7. The Browns have 307 passing yards. There's a reason why Russell Wilson is the MVP. Mike Evans on the block only for this week. I regret to inform you, but there's a trade deadline, and that happened a week ago. So, what if Russ breaks the passing yards record today? He's got to be at like 5,300 at this point. He would have to break the NFL game record, so I guess I shouldn't count on it, but I mean, we've seen that happen in this stadium. And on the first play of the half, Russ chucks up a prayer, and sure enough, it is caught, I think. There's a penalty, though. Defensive pass interference. Wow, that's going to be a difference of 1 yard. So it's a PI, but it doesn't matter because he caught it. That was IT. IT caught that and drew the penalty? That's embarrassing. That should have been intercepted. I don't even think he was trying to throw it to Tremble. I think he was trying to throw it to the other receiver who was covered. But Tremble makes a really good play, snatching the ball away. Toronto Huskies type play. IT literally is better at wide receiver. There's a reason why he's a receiving back. He's a pretty darn good receiver. He's the only player with X. Does Chase only have Superstar still? I guess so. It looks like he's on the outside and he only has Superstar. And I guess the other 2 receivers only have Superstar as well. He's a receiving back. That's why his stats are so bad. If he was an elusive back or a power back, he'd probably be one of the best running backs in the league. Because those archetypes seem to do better in Madden Sim. As Russ throws it into the back of the end zone. Shamrocks type secondary. Cleveland's going to take the points. As they should, up by 10. Felt like they could have done more there with those previous 2 drives. They could have done more than 3 points. And they brought it to the red zone both times. So they're leaving the door open for the Tigers. We'll see if Chicago can capitalize here. Again, don't forget, if Cleveland wins this game, they clinch the division. Be their first time since season 1. Remember what one stream? What do you mean? The like week 5 and 6 stream? How that was the drunkest stream ever? That's probably the meme of the year. I don't even remember everything that happened minus the game. I know there were some other stuff. Wasn't that where we talked about Denmark's like mansion? That was fun. This will play there by the offense. Nick is going to draft Garrett Wilson, Drake London, and Chris Olave next year, and they're all going to be really good. And he's going to draft a good rookie tight end, too. Greg Dulcich. He's going to draft Greg Dulcich and turn him into a freaking monster. Oh, is that a Jabo? I didn't even notice that. Hold on. No, hold on. Let me get the whole clip. Okay, there we go. I didn't even notice it was him. 3rd and 21. A screen. Yikes. That's a bad call. What were your first impressions of you? To be honest, I don't even remember. I think when you first came in, that would have been like the end of OFL 21, and you weren't really active, so I just assumed you were another person who makes a player, doesn't say anything, and boom, moves on. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Maybe EA only loves you when you play Jax. You're probably right, which is ironic because EA seems to love Jax, except when Jax is playing you, or Jax is in the wild card game. Now they're starting to run it a little bit with IT, whose receiving stats are better than his rushing stats. Which seems to be the case every Browns game. Did IT just stiff arm a guy? Did I see that right? That whoever that defender is, he's got to pack it up. He's cooked. He's got to hang up the cleats and call it a career. It's been a good run, but once he gets stiff armed by IT Thomas, the dream is dead. Wide open is Jamar Chase. He's probably been their best receiver today. It says a lot because all their receivers have been pretty good. Cleveland's marching down the field. If they score a touchdown, you know it's a 3-possession game. Looks like IT Thomas wants to turn this into a sim as he brings it to the 1. I did not think this of all games would be a sim, but looks like it might be. Not on that play. Remember Adrian Assblaster. Who doesn't love Adrian Assblaster? And, of course, Omni saying, no, I don't want that guy on my team. And then, of course, proceeding to famously pull Martin Luther King quotes out for no reason at all. You were pretty much Debo with the jump ball skills with Megatron. So pretty much you were Megatron. I guess that's pretty good. IT finally gets in, and now it becomes a sim. 24-7. Big performance from the Browns. Why is it not showing the plays on the ground? Okay, I guess we're just going to roll with it. Oh, now they're there. Keishon Butte with a quick touchdown. We'll keep Simeon a little while longer. Okay, maybe we should hop back in. Okay, so our 2-minute sim is over, and the Tigers have very quickly made it a game again. That was fast. Got him to trade me to Laurie Markkinen for Abdel Nader straight up. That sounds about right. I'm also a 6'2" guy, and I'm a 5'10" white boy. So I guess you're Calvin minus, the height, and probably the speed, and probably all the natural athleticism, but still Calvin. Lawrence with a rocket on 3rd and 7. I think he caught it in bounds. He did. What a throw. And what a great catch. Who's 17? Is that Hardman? Yeah, Mecole Hardman with a great play. You had the speed. Okay, so you're Calvin without the height. And probably the weight. But everything else. Got 3 B potentials from him for a 72. Yeah, that seems like him. We learned about Confucianism. Is that what it's called? Confucianism? That's fun. 3rd and 5. If they don't get it, I think it's late enough in the game where they probably have to go for it. And I guess that won't be a concern because they got it. Have we had a game this year where it was a sim and the other team won? I don't know if we have in OFL 22. So I guess the Tigers are looking to change some history. Hector, when was the War of 1812? Eastmood doesn't know this, so if you know this, you're smarter than Eastmood, which I guess doesn't say that much. Genghis Khan is my cousin. Well, congrats. Queen Elizabeth. Good answer. 1912 was the War of 18... Yeah, you are spot on. Boom. Nailed it. 3rd and inches. They get it. Clock is ticking, though. They've got to move a little bit faster. Now under 3 minutes. If the Tigers score here, they're probably going to get the ball back. Even though IT's been decent today, I don't trust him in a short yardage situation. Where did the Queen of England live? I can tell you where she lives now. She lives 6 feet under. Now they have it at the 4. How did the Browns still have the momentum? That doesn't make sense. But this has been a very one-way quarter. Who was in the Civil War? That's a good question. Maybe Hector knows. 1st and go. Oh, nice hit. That seemed like maybe a late hit. I couldn't really tell if that was a clean play or not. But no flag. Madden doesn't really call late hits unless it's like a player going out of bounds. 2nd and goal. Incomplete. In the Civil War, Mr. Martin Luther King invented black people. Should I write that down for the Meme of the Year candidate or what? That doesn't make sense. 3rd and goal. They may kick a field goal if they don't get it. However, Trevor Lawrence has about 20 seconds in the pocket. He could have made a peanut butter jelly sandwich that he wanted to. And then he throws a touchdown to Keishon Butte, bringing the lead down to 3. With 2:16, both teams have all 3 timeouts. The Tigers have a real shot. They still got to get a stop and score, but I think they have the ability to do both of those things. All right, can I.T. Thomas, of all people, finish out the game? You handed him the ball, said, here's a present, give it to your mother. That's cold. That is cold. I would have loved to have seen that kid's reaction. There's a good start for IT. He gets 6. He has 2 touchdowns today. Who was in the Revolutionary War? Wonder if Hector knows. Two-minute warning. Chicago has 3 timeouts. The revolutionists. I don't think that's a word. That's like 20 letters. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. There's a guy on my team whose signature as he signs the ball and hands it to him. That's funny. Speaking of funny, the Browns just got stopped. The Tigers are going to have a minute 40 and 2 timeouts. And all they need is a field goal to tie the game. This turned into a sim just a quarter ago, and now there's a real shot at this being a thing. Although they have a lot of work to do as Johnny Hecker pins him deep at the 5. What a punt! What if my JV team plays your school? Who's winning? I don't know. I mean, you have a JV team, so that's a start. Oh! Okay, well, who cares about field position now? The Tigers just got 44. Was that JMO? I think so. I saw the superstar thing. I think that was JMO. There's JMO again. They are already in field goal range. What is happening? Lawrence now for the end zone. Ooh, that play had worked, I swear. How do the Tigers barely have any momentum? That makes no sense to me. They've dominated the entire quarter. 2nd and 10. Short throw. A field goal is more than a success. And Cleveland has to call a timeout. Christian Barmore is hurt. So not only do they lose a key starter, but they call a timeout, which they may need, and the clock is stopped for the Tigers. So that's about as worse of a thing that could have happened there. 3rd and 3. Ooh, he misfires for JMO. So they're only going to be able to kick a field goal. JMO was wide open, too. That was a great route, but Trevor Lawrence missed the pass. 42-yard kick is good, and we are tied up at 24. Cleveland can still win the game in regulation. Don't forget, they have the MVP under center. They have 36 seconds and 2 timeouts, and all they need is a field goal. Why are they returning the kick? Why do teams return the kick? They make it to the 25 like 20% of the time in real life. In Madden, that's even lower. Teams who return the kick out of the end zone are not the brightest. And they're running jet sweeps. Okay, I guess we're going overtime. Yeah, Cleveland doesn't even seem to want to try to end this game now, which is stupid. But okay. They're going to run one more play. I guess a Hail Mary? No, they're going to run the ball. This might have been the worst quarter I've seen from a team in my entire life. And now we are going to overtime. Cleveland is lucky they played so well those first 3 quarters because they did everything they could to lose this game. All right, tails never fails. If Cleveland ties, I think they do clinch the division. So, it's heads. Oh, so Cleveland didn't listen to me and it worked out. But I think if Cleveland ties, they do clinch the division. So a tie is like the same as a win. It doesn't help with seeding, but it clinches the division. So a tie wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for Cleveland. For Chicago, maybe it would, because they can't clinch the division this week if they tie. So Chicago has more to win for, I feel like, than Cleveland. Although, obviously, both teams want to win. Do I think Greg Dortch retired in OFL? He probably did. Browns throw a pick. Tigers chalk it up to JMO. That seems like a good strategy. I mean, if the Tigers do get a pick, I'm confident in the second thing happening. Our coaching staff drank bleach before the second half. 2nd and 9. He is incomplete. This is actually going to happen, isn't it? This is incredible. I would have expected this Browns collapse to happen like in 3 weeks. Not now. Fumble! Russ picks it up, but he does not get the first down. Cameron Hayward with the strip sack. So now it's first one to score wins. Oh my goodness. What an utter collapse by the Cleveland Browns. This game might be a meme of the year candidate. What was he cooking? The Tigers still have to score here, though. And that's not a good start. Nick Bosa in the backfield for a sack. We could get our first tie in all of OFL 22 right here. And in doing so, clinch Cleveland the division. Nick Bosa has 19 sacks. That's a lot. Short throw. Pretty productive play for the Tigers. They get 9. All you got to do is chuck it up to J-Mo. Maybe not on 3rd down. Although they have 5 wide, so maybe they are. I would try to go make sure you get the first down. Or not. Okay. So both offenses get stopped. And now Cleveland has a chance to win the game again. Are we going to get another what a punt? My God. This punter deserves a raise. What a punt. I think that's the 3rd punt from both teams today inside the 5. Starting with a big handoff to the fullback. He actually gets 10. I don't think he got the first, though, but he almost did. And they're running jet sweeps. Why are they expecting them to work? Devontae Smith loses 3, and now it is 3rd. And they should throw the ball. What are they doing? You have the MVP under center. And you're giving the ball to the fullback, and now you're giving the ball to ITT. Oh, he got it. Okay. Just don't listen to me. But Jamar Chase is hurt. Which does stop the clock, but I don't think you really want him injured. You know, if Cleveland didn't, mess around and bring this game to overtime, this wouldn't have happened. And now he is going to the locker room and could have a multi-week injury. Who's the number 4 receiver? Is it KJ Osborne? I think it's KJ Osborne. And that name gives me PTSD right now. So, yeah. Russ chucks up a prayer. Downfield, it's caught by Jalen Waddle to the 14. It is, in fact, Jalen Waddle season. Now they can just kick the field goal, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Honestly, good call. No reason to get cute. The Tigers are burning their timeout along with the 2-minute warning, as you would expect, to try to ice the kicker, Chris Boswell, to win the game for the Brownies and clinch the AFC North in doing so. He got it, and Cleveland wins one of the most wild games of the year, 27-24 in overtime, a game that the Browns had won until they didn't. Well, that was something. Russ was really good. He did not throw a touchdown, but he was very good, as was Trevor Lawrence. Both QBs were phenomenal today. IT Thomas wasn't horrible. He did have a good game in the air. JMO, 8 for 208. Pretty typical stat line in a Jameson Williams watch game. Jamar Chase is also great, but he is now injured. Kayshon Butte scores twice. What were IT's receiving numbers? 4 for 68. 1.5 sacks for Bo and Bosa. Cameron Hayward had the big strip sack in the first overtime. I'm about to pop a blood vessel. All right, so it's time to sim Week 17. Please don't let me down. Please beat the Bears. Bears going down. All right, here we go. Imagine Jamar evaporated his spine or something. I don't know if that's physically possible. The Bucks, how many did they lose by today? Oh, they played the Jets. Okay, well then that explains it. Elijah Chisholm was not good. DeAndre Swift was good, as was Zach Evans, the backup running back. Good win for the Bucks, who are they out? How many wins do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're 8-8. I guess they still have a shot. A slim shot, but a shot. The Cardinals lose again to the Jags. Arizona is now 1-15. Nice little win for Jacksonville. Syverson and Smith with both 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions apiece. King Henry played like King Henry. James Francis with a very good performance. The Chiefs beat the Huskies 25-7. So if Toronto wasn't out, they're now definitely out. The Chiefs scored 17 in the fourth. It was 8-7. Eek. Jacoby Brissett comes back down to earth. A lot of sacks, I think. Not a lot of running the ball. Yikes. This is embarrassing. Two sacks for Warner and Fletcher Cox. The Diablos lose to Salt Lake City. So the Pioneers officially clinched the AFC West. And now Mexico joins the crowded wild card race once again. Joe Mixon played like Joe Mixon, making our game against him that much more impressive. Montez Sweat 2 sacks. He might be the defensive player of the year. The Dolphins, they've already clinched the division. They're playing for seeding, and they lose in what could be a Super Bowl preview, an OFL Bowl preview, to the Carolina Panthers. Does this mean Carolina clinches the 1 seed? I feel like it does. They definitely clinched their division now at 13-2. Big game for Jalen Reagor. So I think they clinched the 1 seed. I think they also, in doing so, clinched the overall best record in the league. No matter what happens the rest of the way. The Rams beat the Falcons. Big win for LA. Huge playoff implications here. Both of these teams have 10 wins. Javonte Williams, or both of these teams had 10 wins. Now the Rams have 11. So the Rams probably clinch a playoff spot. And the Falcons are probably in 2, even with a loss. Washington. They beat the Broncos. They needed to. I imagine if Washington wins and the Giants lose, then Washington probably clinches the division. So Washington should be good. Is this the first time they've been in the playoffs in OFL 22? I think it has. Apple finally gets in. If the Niners lose, I believe the Rams clinch the division. And they don't! So this game determines the winner of the NFC West. So congratulations to the LA Rams for winning the NFC West and doing so. But wow, what a day for the Niners. They go 3-0 against 3 really good teams. So the Tigers are still a game ahead of the Wizards in the division. So if Chicago wins or Orlando loses, Chicago wins the division. The Wizards are still a leg up on everybody in the AFC wildcard race, so they should be fine, but I don't think they've clinched. The Giants get smoked. Wow, the Black Knights allowed 7 points. You scored 7 points against the worst, 147 yards, against the worst defense I've ever seen. This Giants team does not belong in the playoffs. That is embarrassing. There's no way we should finish lower than the Giants. This team is going from winning the OFL Bowl to scoring 7 against one of the worst defenses, I think, in OFL history. The Huskies lost. The Jags won. The Jets got killed. The Lions beat the Bats. So my Austin 7th seed thing, yeah, that's out the window. Austin's pretty much dead. Deshaun Watson, 3 touchdowns. Dak Prescott, 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Can we change Trey Lance's first name to Lap Dance? You know, that might not be a bad idea. 2 interceptions for Kendall Fuller. The Panthers, They won. Good stream for Carolina. The Ravens beat New England, so Baltimore is 8-8. I think they have a slim shot, but a shot. We are going all the way. You need to score more than 7 against London first. Does that mean Washington clinches the division? I think they do. The Pioneers, they won. They clinched their division. A lot of teams have clinched this week, which I guess was to be expected. The Seahawks beat the Saints in a playoff rematch from last year. Both of these teams have been anything but playoff teams this year. But Seattle's won a lot of games late. They've really messed up the tank. Dublin. 3-0. Wow. Good for them. They beat the Beats 28-21. So Dublin is now, what, 9-7? So they're probably in a position to where they control their own fate. You feel semi-good. That means you guys are going to lose in the divisional round. No sacks, no picks, no defense. That's how Brooklyn Beats games go. A lot of points. It's like they're a Big 12 team. Please don't let me down. Ooh! 38-28. The Vikings have a chance to win this division. Hector Estrada, I think, threw like 10 touchdowns today and no picks. He's been really good. Najee was as well. So if we win in Week 18 and the Bears lose, we win the division. The Bears are still a game ahead of us, but we beat them twice. It's crazy. This team started 1-5 and was so bad, and then we trade for Hector, and then we're magically really good. So we have to beat the Huskies, which we probably will. The Bears have to beat the... Oh, damn it. Why couldn't they have played someone good? How close is... We'll check the stats at the end. The Aviators beat the Bison. Big win for Columbus. So everybody in the AFC North wins today. Jalen Hurts was abysmal. The Bats, they lost, yeah. The Bears lost. The Beats lost. The Bison lost. The Black Knights won. The Broncos, we saw that. Who did we start with? We started with the Browns. Okay, so that's everyone. You guys played the Aviators? Ooh, we might have to watch that. That's kind of the big game. All right, Players of the Week. Hector Estrada, W. Trevor Lawrence, Fred Warner, and Deion Jones. So with 1 week to go, let's look at the standings. A number of teams have clinched things, I think. Yeah, a lot of letters. So the Panthers clinch the 1 seed. Browns clinch a playoff spot in the division. Pioneers clinch a playoff spot in the division, excuse me. The Dolphins already did. The Rams clinch a playoff spot. The Tigers clinch a playoff spot. The Falcons clinch a playoff spot. The Niners, holy hell, the Niners clinch a playoff spot. The Bears clinch a playoff spot. And Washington wins the division. Okay, that's a lot of teams. Does this mean we're the 7th seed? Oh my lord. All right, let's take a look at the standings by division. So the Browns clinch the division. These 3 teams all have a shot at the playoffs. In the South, the Tigers have clinched a spot. The Wizards should get in. All they have to do is win. But they're not officially in yet. Tigers can clinch the division with a win or Orlando loss next week. Dolphins clinch the division. They're playing for seeding. The Beats, since they lost, they're not in a great spot. But I don't think they're out. Pioneers clinch the division. Chiefs and Diablos still in the race. Broncos are pretty much out. The Bears have clinched a playoff spot, but they've not clinched the division. If they lose and the Vikings win, Minnesota wins the division with the head-to-head tiebreaker. Lions and Huskies are out. Panthers clinch for the 1 seed. Atlanta gets a wild card spot. The football team clinches the division. The Rams and Niners both clinch playoff spots. Whoever wins their Week 18 game wins the division and could get the 2 seed. Right? Yeah. Depending on what happens with Washington. Got here at the end of the stream. Love that. Yeah. Good day for you. You guys, no matter what, are not only the number 1 seed in the NFC, but the best record in the entire league. So this is what the playoff bracket looks like. I cannot believe we are in here. That's crazy. And now we're going to lose to... Who do we play against again? We play someone bad. We play the Huskies. If we lose, I swear. But this is what it looks like as of now. The Shamrocks and Aviators have jumped in. The Browns are the 1 seed. The Vikings replace the Giants. Yeah, no, New York does not belong anywhere near here. How many teams still have a shot? There's a lot in both conferences. And then we will get to the stats and whatnot, I promise. So in the AFC, 4 teams are in. The Wizards are in with a win. These are the other 2 wild cards. The Chiefs and Diablos are right behind them. The Ravens and the Beats still have a very slim shot. But a shot. So, assuming the Wizards do get in, these 6 teams are competing for 2 wild card spots. Now, if the Wizards lose and 3 or 4 of these teams win, then Orlando could fall out. But that feels pretty unlikely. In the NFC, 6 teams have clinched. So the only spot up for grabs is the 7th seed, which will go to the Vikings if they win no matter what. The Bucks and the Giants are the only other 2 teams in the race. Yeah, I feel pretty good about our chances. Even if we don't win, these 2 teams are both bad. So, in that sense, I feel pretty good. The other races up for grabs are the NFC West and wild card seeding between the Falcons, Bears, and Vikings, which the NFC North is also up for grabs as well. All right, let's start with the injuries. There were quite a few today. Let's see how many of them are serious. Jamar Chase, abdominal tear. This is why you don't blow games, Cleveland, because stupid injuries happen. Bilal Mickels' broken thumb. That could be an impact because the Falcons will be in the playoffs. Saquon is still out 2 more weeks, so he will not be there for Week 18. So in other words, we don't have to worry about the Giants, which is good. Julian Bonerific! No! Hasn't he been, kind of good this year? I haven't really noticed him. He's been fine. Odafe Owe is also out, but the Lions are out as well, so they don't really matter. There's, no injuries from these teams below Detroit. Wow. And then these 2 were already there. Kareem Hunt, complete MCL tear. He might miss the start of next season. Byron Murphy and Christian Darrisaw both injured their knees. I guess that's why Denver's out. So overall, not that many injuries across the league, which is good. We'll do stats now. I know everyone wants to see stats. We're going to look at the team stats as well. What is the passing yard record? How many does Russell Wilson need? So Russ is currently 5th. He's going to need around 400, which was set by Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago. And Derek Carr is in 2nd. So if Russ wants to break the current NFL record, he's going to need 112. Wow, these 2 were 1 yard off? I did not know that. What needs to happen for you to get in? You need to win, and you need some of those 9-win teams to lose. So it's not impossible, but you need a few things to go your way. Hey, there's Jack. Highest passer rating among starters is a tie between Hector and Watson. Hector's probably 2nd place for MVP, and I would even throw Joe Burrow into the ring. He's done an incredible job of dragging the Beats back in it. Jerome Diggs is 4th. That's kind of a surprise. Wow, I didn't realize his numbers were that good. Holy hell. There's Lap Dance Lance. He's had a great run at the end of the year. He could find himself in the MVP race. There's Jacoby Brissett. All right, so I think we know Russ is the MVP. We're trying to figure out who else is in the MVP race. I like Hector. And then some of these guys in this range. We'll scroll down so everybody can see their quarterback. Herbert has a touchdown-interception ratio of 36-6. I'm surprised it's that high. Does Russ have the Triple Crown? I don't think... What would be the 3rd part of the Triple Crown? Interceptions? I think he's 2nd in touchdowns. I don't remember who's 1st. Lowest passer rating among starters is Demaryius Johnson. That would make sense. Yeah, Joe Burrow has 5 more touchdowns. So Burrow's going to win the touchdown record. Or, not record, but he'll have the most. And then the lowest interception among starters is Hector and, who would have guessed, Kyler Murray. And they both have less interceptions than Justin Fields, who played in like 3 games. I know it says 14, but he started in like 3. Joe Mixon is going to be the rushing champ and probably the favorite for the Offensive Player of the Year. A lot of good running backs, though, at the top. A lot of 1,000-yard rushers. Will I.T. Thomas join that list? Saquon Barkley has 800, and he missed like half the year. Jamar Chase is currently the leader in receiving yards. He'll probably be an Offensive Player of the Year candidate because he's also very high in touchdowns. But he will be out for the first few weeks of the playoffs, which is a big deal. I think he would return in the conference championship if the Browns were to make it that far. I wish I could sort yards like just for tight ends. Because I know we had this discussion the other day. Okay, let's look at the tight ends real quick. So in first we have Darren Waller, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Sam Laporta, Tommy Tremble. Where's Pittman? Hawk, Dawson Knox. Where the hell is Pittman? There he is, so he'll have 1,000. Receptions is Michael Thomas. Over 100 as well, we have Tommy Tremble, Deebo Samuel, Devontae Adams, and Auden Tate. We'll go to like 80. And then touchdowns is Tyreek Hill with 18. Scotty Miller. Huh. Okay. Good for you. Offensive line. Who's the worst? Trevor Penning. Defense by conference. DeMarcus Lawrence is going to break the sack record and probably win DPOY. Nick Bosa and Montez Sweat also have 20. And then the next is 12.5. That's quite the downgrade. Interceptions. Denzel Ward and Deion Jones have 5. Fumble forces. Brian Brzee, Eli Ricks, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and Jabril Peppers have 2. Ricks has 2 recoveries. Then in the NFC, Doug Costin has 22 TFLs and 1.5 sacks. That's honestly impressive. Brian Burns with 21 sacks. Myles Garrett, what the hell, dude? I picked you in the top 5. Wake up. Interceptions, Tremaine Edmonds and Devin Bush, along with Eric Stokes, all have 5. Fumbles, 3 forced by Kyle Duggar, 2 by Warner, Hightower, and White. Recoveries, Duggar leads the way with 2. Kicking. Is there any perfect kickers still? J.J. Glanville, Chris Boswell, Mitchell Westbrook, and Josh Lambo have all not missed a kick. And the worst is Joshua Fry. Highest punting average. Who is Ryan Winslow? Can't say I've ever heard of him. Inside the 20, Justin Truman. Least punts, Michael Polarity. Most punts, Tress Way and Jake Camarda. Thank you for picks. Yeah, you want to swap Myles Garrett and Nick Bosa? I would appreciate that. MVP favorite is obviously Russell Wilson. Top 5, I can't really argue with this. These 4 guys might very well be the 4 other nominees. Coach of the Year, Husker. No major problem there. After Week 18, of course, we'll have our official awards vote. Jonathan Taylor, wow, I didn't think he'd be first. I.T. Thomas is 7th. What? How are you still not in Coach of the Year? I have no idea. That is a good question. In the NFC, Hector is the offensive player of the... I don't think we've ever had an MVP candidate play on two different teams. And we might have two this year with Hector and Trey Lance, who both were traded mid-season. Jimmy Jackson is the favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year, so maybe he is putting up really good numbers, as Hector was saying. McKeon Muscabili is an 86. That was quite the draft pick. Official awards vote, which Octi never does. What? I do that every... What are you talking about? I do that every year. And I always do that, like, in a timely manner. Oh, I never count the votes. Yeah, I do. I do them maybe too late, but I still do it. All right. Team stats. Here's offensive yards. We'll probably do more team stats on week 18. We'll just do the basic ones today, like yards and points. But we'll go through pretty much all of them in the next stream for the end of the season, just so everyone can see. Defensive yardage is Carolina by a landslide. Points. How are the Black Knights not first by more? Conversions. Aviators and Browns have the highest third down. Lowest is the Jags and the Saints. Fourth down. Lowest is the Jets. Highest is the football team. And 2 points. Cool beans. Highest offensive red zone efficiency is the Rams. Lowest is Seattle. How do you not score on 50? Oh, that's just touchdowns. Still, how do you get under 50% of your red zone attempts with touchdowns? That's horrible. Aviators and Tigers had the best defense in the red zone, and the worst is Seattle. So Seattle does not like the red zone, in other words. Least amount of penalties is the Vikings. Most is the Broncos. Turnover differential is somehow Seattle and the Jets. What? And the Saints had the worst. Okay, well, at least that makes a little more sense. All right, we'll look at the schedule, and then I can check through team stats. All right, let's see how many games are important. This game, not really. The Dolphins are playing for seeding. This game, not really. The Falcons are playing for seeding. Carolina already is for 1. This game, not important. Well, actually it is. The Bucs still have a slim shot. This game, important. The Tigers are playing for the division. The Diablos are playing for a playoff spot. This game, important. The Bears are playing for the division and seeding. The Giants are playing for a playoff spot. Not important. Both teams are playing for a playoff spot. Winner of this game wins the division. The Chiefs are playing for a playoff spot. The Browns are playing for seeding. If they win, they get 1. And Dublin is playing for a playoff spot. If they win, they are in. Both of these teams are playing for seeding. They've already clinched their divisions, but that is a really good game. I wouldn't mind watching. Both of these teams are out. Wizards are playing for a playoff spot / division. Beats are playing for a playoff spot. And the Vikings are playing for a playoff spot / division. And Hector plays against the Huskies. All right, who wants to see their player stats? What is good Pokemon? What did you miss? I think you guys went 1 and 2. We watched your game for week 15, and you guys lost only by 3. You played decent to the Wizards. You beat the Chiefs, and you lost to the Aviators. So I think you guys are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. All right, first on the list, I see the 49ers. Led by our good friend Lapdance Lance. $2,000-yard receivers, John Vincent and Colt Riggs. They have 5 guys with at least 750. Nick Chubb might be the offensive player of the year just based on his total yards of scrimmage. That's a lot of work in the pass game. All right, next up, I have the Ravens. Here's Big Dan. Why would he rest Waddle? The Ravens have something to play for. Or not the Ravens, the Browns. The Browns, that 1 seed is a big deal. So he has no reason to not play Jalen Waddle. That'd be pretty stupid if he did rest him, to be honest. Unless he were, you might as well rest your whole team or rest nobody. Browns. Who cares? Seeding is very... The 1 seed means you skip your first game. That's a big deal. Getting the 1 seed is a very important thing. So, there's real reason... They have 4,000-yard receivers. Jesus Christ. And I.T. Thomas. And then next is 77. Well, I guess that's what happens when none of your receivers get injured up until right at the end with Jamar Chase. You want a playoff? Well, why would Nick care? Why would Nick care if your team gets a playoff spot? Nick should care about his team and his team only. Wow, Terrace Marshall is over 1,000. That's kind of a surprise. Is this Browns team the first team to ever have 4,000-yard receivers? They honestly might be. Dolphins. After the Dolphins, we have the Bison. And then that is it. Well, then the Vikings. Rest most... If you have any depth chart changes, put them in the depth chart thing, because I'm not going to remember if you just say them here. The Cardinals have already clinched the #1 pick, so... They had that spot on lock. They're like 3 games below everyone. You should still rest your starters if you want a higher pick. But Arizona's going to get 1 regardless. And then we might as well check the Vikings as well. Hector is him. Wow, we have like 7,000 passing yards as a team. Wink, wink. We have no 1,000. I guess that's what happens when your entire receiving core misses time. Wow, literally everyone on our receiving core has missed at least 2 games. That's honestly impressive. Yet we're probably going to finish with 3,000-yard receivers if everybody stays true to their current projections. That's honestly impressive. All right, cool. I think that's it. I think we went over everything. Standings, injuries, stats, schedule. I think we're good. So yeah, we're going to have the polls up soon, week 18. I don't know when that'll be, but it's going to be a fun one. So stay tuned because it'll be at some point. We'll see. Peace out.